A portion of this video is sponsored by Fidelity.
The post-grad transition is extremely awkward and weird, and I find it interesting that before I entered it, I had never heard anyone talk about it. I always just thought that it was like a seamless transition because nobody said otherwise, but now that I am in it, it is so weird and awkward and just, what are any of us doing? So I wanted to make a little video diary of sorts. I want people to know that it is weird, and it's weird for everybody. Literally everyone that I've talked to, all of my friends that are going through it agree. These are just some of the things that I have been thinking about and facing recently. I'm over a year into my post-grad life now. It's evolving every day, but this is kind of where I'm at right now. Let's discuss something that I think we all know needs to be discussed, but we all don't want to talk about it because it is kind of stressful. It's my radiator, sorry. Something that I think has been drilled into my head ever since college, I mean, I did go to business school, so they talked a lot about this, is... Seriously? Can you not, please? Thank you. Is investing. This is something that I have been thinking a lot about ever since I graduated because I know that the earlier you get started on this, the better. I just simply am so stressed about it because I don't know where to start. The whole thought of it makes me feel very overwhelmed because there's just so many ins and outs of it that I do not understand. And that is where the professionals need to come in, which leads us to our video sponsor today, which is Fidelity. So thank you so much to Fidelity for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Essentially, Fidelity is here to help you with your unique money goals. They offer a ton of different services in the investing and all of that kind of stuff realm, and they are simply straightforward with you, which I feel like is really important. Fidelity can help you feel confident handling your money, and they also can teach you that your money has the potential to grow no matter where you are in your financial journey. They also know and understand that it is overwhelming and challenging to figure all of this out, figure out what to do with your money. So they have the experience to help you navigate that while working towards your goals. Fidelity can also help you to improve your money habits with their digital tools and learning center, which I think is really cool. It's a super cool and helpful resource that I think is awesome if you're somebody like me, again, who doesn't really know much at all. The bottom line is that Fidelity offers simple, actionable strategies for your unique financial needs. You can learn more with Fidelity by clicking the link down in my description. Thank you so much to Fidelity for sponsoring this portion of the video. Hello, I'm eating a granola bar. Oh my god, it's so hot outside. I'm getting ready to go hang out with my friends. It is a Sunday. We usually do something at least one of the days of the weekend. Also, your eyes do not deceive you. I am wearing a tank top and it is November, which definitely brings up a bigger issue that I'm not going to get into in this video, but trust, I am worried, darling. I think that making friends post-grad is probably one of the things that not only I get asked about the most, just like how did you make your friends, or like tips for making friends post-grad. And it's also one of the more difficult things. When I moved here, I did know a couple people that just are from my hometown that I am friends with from there, but I didn't have a group of people by any means, like a go-to group of people to hang out with. I didn't even have that in college. Let me sit down. It is quite hot in here. It's killing my winter vibe. We're going to do holiday things. And by that I mean looking at a store that has holiday stuff out, and also the Winter Village at Bryant Park is open now, which is really exciting. So I think we're gonna go do that. Anyway, making friends post-grad in a new city. It's not the easiest thing in the world. And I wanna say I moved here in October, and I have talked about this a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about it again because this video is all about how the post-grad transition is like so awkward and difficult for everybody. It's hard to meet and establish like a good core friend group when you are now like outside of the system that is school. It's so interesting when you leave the school system because you start to realize how much the school system, just being in the structure of it, set up so many aspects of your life, one of which being your social life. From literally the first day that we ever went to school, we were put with other kids, and that was really like our controlled environment to socialize and make friends with those people. Like, we were literally given a batch of people to be friends with. And it was like that for the rest of our lives. Every single grade, if you got a new class, or if you stayed with the same class, or if you moved to a new school, the same thing happened. I moved here in October of last year. I did not meet the people that I now consider like my close, really good, genuine group of friends until February or March, 5 or 6 months after I moved here, until I finally found those people. It wasn't like I just found them all like at once. I met one person, and I met that person by putting myself out there and reaching out to them on social media. I slid up on their story. We decided to go and grab coffee together, and we did, and we just sat and talked for hours, and we became friends that way. That person invited me to a party that weekend where her other friends were going to be. I'm talking about Anna. If you guys have been following me, she's the first person that I met that kind of introduced me to all of her other friends. Since then, when someone in the group makes a new friend, they then get introduced into the group as well. So it just grows that way, kind of through friends of friends. That's literally how I met this group of people that I hang out with all the time. I feel like I'm awkward in social situations, so I'm always scared to put myself out there and reach out to people on social media, or just like respond to their stuff or whatever if I don't actually know them, because I don't want them to think that I'm annoying. Like, I always just feel like I'm annoying, but I did that. I'm like not that outgoing of a person. I mean, I am to a point, but I'm not the kind of person that's like putting myself out there at every given opportunity, because I have a ton of anxiety and social anxiety. I always feel like I'm awkward in social situations, like I said. So I'm not the first person to like put myself out there. But I do think that that is really the best advice I could give for making friends post-grad, is to put yourself out there. It could take like 20 times of you putting yourself out there before you finally connect with somebody. You have to keep trying, because you literally never know if the next person is going to be someone that you can really connect with. You'll never know unless you try. It is definitely scary and nerve-wracking. So trust me, I do understand that. But it is really important. You also are going to gain confidence in yourself out of it. The more that you are in social situations, the more confident you become in them. The more practice you have, like the more natural it's going to start feeling, and you're not going to feel as awkward every time. I am a very independent person, and I feel like I always have been. I'm really comfortable being by myself, and I enjoy my own company. I never felt like I needed to be in social situations to like have fun. Like, I can have fun on my own, but I have definitely come to realize in the last like probably several years how important it is to have good, genuine social interaction and social connections with other people. It's so important for your mental health. It's good for the plot. Anyway, I just wanted to sit and talk about that for a second. I need to pack my bag and head on out, and I'll see what we get up to. Make life better for their... They actually said... If you would have told me on my first day of college that I would go on to make an income, not only just an income, but a full-time income to sustain myself from making YouTube videos and posting them, I mean, that just simply was never something that ever once crossed my mind. The amount of people that actually know for 100% certainty what they want to do straight out of high school for the rest of their lives is like a pretty small percentage. I feel like growing up, especially in high school, we really get told a lot that you need to pick your major and it's going to be what you do for the rest of your life. And I just think that that's too black and white. So much of life is a gray area, but we're taught that it's black and white. That always bothered me, and it stressed me out so much when I was younger. I was only 17 and trying to figure out what I was gonna do for the rest of my life. Like, that makes no sense. I didn't even know who I was. I still don't. I'm learning every single day. I'm growing every single day and evolving. I didn't even know that I could make money on YouTube when I first started it. I started it because I love making videos. I loved making videos when I was younger. Here I am, graduated from college, and being a content creator is my full-time job right now. You have literally no idea what could happen and the things you could learn or the things you could try and succeed at. You just have no idea because you haven't done them yet, and you don't even know that they're even a possibility until you do them. Since graduating, I've gone through a bit of an identity crisis because a lot of my content, actually most of my content since I did start my channel in college, was school related, college student related, and then I was doing YouTube while also doing school. So I always felt like I wasn't just a YouTuber. Like I was a college student first. When this became my full-time job, I started kind of really overthinking everything that I was doing because obviously I know that what I do is real work and it is a real job. I believe that a job is anything that you earn money from and make a living from. We're not going to gatekeep the word job. I really went through a few months, probably several months. Actually, no, probably the whole past year since I've graduated. I have been feeling like what I'm doing isn't enough. And that's not just because of the outside, like, influences and opinions and whatever. I also felt it personally because I had always done YouTube and school. So I always had something else going on. And now that this is my full-time gig, which I want to say that I'm incredibly grateful for this to be my full-time gig at the moment. I don't want this to come off like that at all. I do feel though that I want to do more. Like, I want to have another thing again, like I did when I had school. Obviously, I don't want to go back to school though. Like, don't get me wrong. It is something I have been thinking about for a really long time, and I actually have been starting to look for a job in the marketing industry. I am extremely fortunate that I can take my time in doing that because I do have YouTube and content creation as my income, so I don't like have to, I don't know. I hate talking about this so much. It gives me anxiety because I feel like no matter what I say, it can be taken the wrong way. I never talk about job things because I just feel like people are either gonna say, well, you have no place to talk because you don't have a job, or they're gonna say, well, you're just complaining about your job. I'm not. I just have this fear of everything that I say being picked apart and taken either the wrong way or out of context, or oh my god. And then I say, oh, I want to get a job, I'm looking for a job. And then I feel like I've been saying that for the past few months because that is how long the process has been. Like, I'm not in like a rush. It's something I would like in the near future. I don't know what I'm saying. I literally have no idea what comes out of my mouth, or I have no idea where I'm going with anything. So I'm 23 and a half. I live in New York City, which is a city bustling with opportunity. There's so many different kinds of people here. There's so many different companies and businesses here. And I want to work somewhere. I pretty much know exactly what I want to do. I am in the very, very fortunate position that I can kind of wait to find the thing, the position or whatever that matches what I want. But I have been in communication with some people. I have had calls with some people. I am really hoping that maybe in the new year, something will open up for me. I also am just passionate about marketing, and I want to explore the industry. I want to get a professional career started. So yeah, obviously I would still be doing YouTube. I don't have any plans to stop doing YouTube. I am going to just trust that what's meant to be will be. Everything is going to happen in its own time and when it needs to happen. I know that this whistling is gonna annoy me, but I have thoughts coming to my head and I just wanna say them before I forget them. Bottom line, if I would tell 10-year-old Hannah, who was making American Girl doll videos in her room, that she was going to grow up and make a living from posting videos on YouTube, she would probably pass out from excitement. And I think that this is one of the coolest jobs I could have ever imagined. I mean, it's unconventional, but I've learned so much about marketing. I've learned so much about myself, and I've grown so much, I think, as a person. Anyway, I love that this is my job. I just also am so interested in exploring more outside of this. I love to learn, and I want to keep learning, always. Just because I'm not in school anymore doesn't mean I cannot learn. I know this is gonna annoy me when I'm editing. Editing Hannah, I am sorry. I know this is annoying, girl queen. I'm really excited though. I feel good about what I know that I want to do. The right thing will come to me at the right time. I know that, and I trust that. Where I am right now is where I need to be. There is no rule book at this point. There's no rubric. There's no roadmap for my own life. I'm creating it. And I think I just put too much pressure on myself, and I obsess too much over what the right move is when there's really no right or wrong move. I need to see a therapist, I think is what I'm... Yeah, I actually really do need to see a therapist. Because I feel like talking to a therapist would be super helpful to sort out all of these thoughts that I have in my mind. They just feel like a jumbled mess. So thank you so much for this talk. I, from this, have learned that I need to see a therapist. Okay, bye. Hello. I think these are like weird. How do I want to set this up? I'm packing right now to go back to my parents' house for Thanksgiving, and I thought this would be the perfect time to just discuss what is on my mind in regards to kind of moving out and like into your own place away from your parents' house, and then specifically going back to your parents' house after it's like not your house anymore, if that makes sense. I feel like this isn't really something I dealt with when I moved away to college, because I knew that my parents' house was my home base still. My college housing was just kind of a temporary thing. I made a whole video about moving out for the first time recently, so I'll link that down below if you want to like hear me get more into that aspect. But I don't know, something about moving out and then coming back to your like parents' house, to your hometown just for a little bit, it's almost like you're a guest in your own house, even though it's not your house anymore, this is where I get into my spiral. It's not my house anymore, but it was like, it's where I grew up, but I feel like a guest kind of in my own house, which is weird. This is something that affected me more, not in the most recent months, because I have found, like I talked about, my friends here that have made this new place for me feel like home. I don't know what to pack because I have so much stuff still at my parents' house, like on purpose so that I wouldn't have to pack too much to go home. Anyway, so finding like my friend group here and kind of like my family away from my family has made it feel a lot more like home. So I actually look forward to coming back like way more than I ever did, is pretty much what I wanted to say. But it's still weird because when I get home, and I call both places home still, which kind of maybe is confusing to my own mind. When I go back to my parents' house for like a week or so to celebrate a holiday or just to visit or whatever I'm doing, I kind of get taken out of my routine that I've set up here, which is vastly different from the one that I have there. I don't really have a routine there because none of my life is there anymore except for my family, which is like the reason I go back. But other than that, there's literally nothing there for me, which is weird. All of this is just weird. I don't know, it's weird. Maybe I'm thinking too far into it, and I definitely am thinking too far into it. Ugh, I'm all over the place. It takes me out of the routine that I've established here, and then it puts me into like a completely different mindset, if that makes sense, which it probably doesn't, but it does. I don't know, it's like being home at my parents' house is comforting because I have my family there, and I have my two other cats that are my family's cats there under one roof, which is like extremely comforting. And I have my mom that makes her home cooked meals and whatever. So I feel like I start to fall back into my comfort zone almost, but then also not, because the only thing that is there for me is my family and my parents and my grandparents and my aunts. And so on one hand, it's comforting. On the other hand, being back there, this is the house I've lived in my entire life, and the town that I grew up in, and the only one I've ever lived in. There's so many bad memories that kind of come flooding back once I cross over the literal city limits of my hometown. It feels like a time warp. It feels like I'm going back and like reverting into me from like 6 years ago and just I don't know, there's just all these negative thoughts and memories that kind of get dredged up, which I don't really, I mean, it happens here too. I'll remember something and then I'll like go down a spiral about it, which is obviously my own problem. Here it's out of sight, out of mind, because this place, this state, this city has nothing to do with any of that. But obviously my hometown is littered with things and people that remind me of things I don't want to necessarily like have brought back up, because they're things that I lived through and I grew through and I grew from. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I've moved on from mentally, emotionally. I don't want any of those memories to be brought back up because I'm so far past them now, but it's hard and it's something that I have to like actively work at more when I'm there, because there's all these things there that I'm like seeing and interacting with and reminding me of. So obviously that's a me problem. I also just have no idea what else to even bring home. I don't have to feel that way. I just have to be better at redirecting those thoughts when they come up and reframing my mindset in some way. It's something I'm still working on, which is okay. I just have to give myself grace, and I understand why some things bring up such negative memories, but I also need to acknowledge that I don't need to dwell on them. I can just let them be a passing thought and then move on with the here and the now, which is the most important. I can't live my life in the past. I have to live my life for the present, because that's all I have, and the future doesn't even exist, so I can't really live for that. I just need to be in the moment and realize that I am home and I get to spend time with family. I don't get to see them as much, obviously, anymore, because I don't live there. I don't live with my parents. And I saw something that literally made me spiral when I first moved out. Maybe it was a tweet, I don't know, but somebody had said the majority of the time that you will have spent with your parents in your entire lifetime is over when you move out. When I read that, I said it to my mom. I was like, I am not doing well with this information. I need to think of that more when I'm home, instead of like the that I can't let affect me anymore. I only get pockets of time now with my family. Okay, I don't know what to bring home. I am trying this time to pack light, so I'm only bringing my duffel. I'll usually bring like my big rolling suitcase, my checked baggage, but I just don't feel like doing that. Like, I don't feel like bringing that home, and I honestly don't think I need to bring that much stuff home, because I also left a lot of clothes and whatnot back at my parents' house. I have leggings, I have bras, underwear, socks, I have all of my toiletry bags, my makeup bag, I have my most worn pair of jeans, I have my white sneakers. I don't really need that much, like, and also the style is very different there than it is here, so I'm not gonna be like stepping out in sick outfits when I'm at home. Like, that's not what I'm there for. I feel like I just need to do the basics so that I have like things that I could wear with the things I have there. And also, if worse comes worse, I will literally just take something out of my mom's closet. Like, it's not that serious at all. I feel like I always pack too much, and then I realize when I'm there that I'm like not wearing any of it. I'm only wearing 10% of the stuff that I pack. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Like, I don't care. I've never been ready this early before, which is why I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't think that I am. Moving out is weird. The whole thing is weird. Everything in this video that I'm talking about is just weird and awkward to have to like go through, because there's just so many conflicting emotions and thoughts and feelings involved for everything. It's kind of hard to sort those out, especially by yourself, which is literally why I need a therapist, as I said in the last section. Like, really do, because I feel like that would help a lot. As Hannah Montana once said, was it Hannah Montana or Miley Stewart? Whoever, they're the same person. You always find your way back home. I think that's very true, and that whole song is very true. This apartment in New York can be home, and my parents' house in my hometown can also be home, and that's okay. There doesn't have to be any more discussion about it or like complication. I think that that's pretty much all I have to say on that. This was a good talk. I'm glad we talked about this, you guys. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening.